Me and my wife were really excited for this trip to Las Vegas. We hadn't been there in years, let alone go on any trip anywhere just the two of us, as having several kids will do that to you. We live in Phoenix, Arizona, and we plan to drive, so it's gonna take us a few hours to get to Las Vegas. We just put our kids with my wife's parents, and then we hit the road. 2 hours into the trip and everything had been going fine. That was until the car suddenly turned off. Now, I hate to admit this, but I know very little about cars. In other words, I did not feel confident that I would find the source of the problem. After trying to figure out what happened, my guess would be that the battery just died, which stupid me hadn't considered before we took the trip. I told my wife to call for help, but shit, we're not even getting a signal out here. Me and my wife seemed to be stuck in the middle of the woods, out on some deserted road at 2 in the morning. So I guess you could say things weren't looking so hot. It was so dark and there were so many trees surrounding us. I told my wife to stay in the car, as I had the bright idea of going into the woods and looking for help. I mean, we did see some houses a few miles back. Before making the decision to take my wife and start walking back to one of those houses, I wanted to go into the woods and possibly find a nearby house. Me and my wife did have flashlights after all, so she kept one and I took the other into the woods. I started walking into the woods, and so far all I can hear are some animals in the distance. If the sound of those larger animals get any closer to me, I'm gonna head back. I've watched the movie An American Werewolf in London way too many times to keep this shit up. I was able to make out a very small light in the distance. Now, I wasn't sure what it was, so I went ahead and started walking in that direction in hopes of it being somebody's house. Yes, there's people that live in the woods, and I was hoping I'd get lucky and find one of these people, so I kept walking towards the light. As I walked even closer, I started to make out some kind of music, and as it became a little clearer, it sounded just like circus music. It sounded like that typical type of circus music, if that even makes sense. Now, even though I found that a little weird, being that it's 2 in the morning, me and my wife needed help. So I was gonna find that help. So I kept walking closer. Eventually, I was able to make out what the light is. It looked like a huge tent. It seemed to be lit up pretty damn bright. All I was thinking that I'm about to come across a bunch of weirdos. But regardless, weirdos that could be doing me a favor. As I reached within 10 feet of the tent, the lights turned out. At the same time, the music turned off. What the hell? This has already been freaky since I heard that damn circus music. Maybe I should just turn back. Then I thought, no, me and my wife need help right now. So I pushed my luck and started walking even closer until I reached what seemed to be the entrance of the tent. So I just peeked my head inside and I shouted, "Hello, anybody here? Me and my wife's car just broke down on the road and we can sure use some help." I waited for a response, but nothing. I didn't hear a thing. I know I saw the lights on, I know I heard the circus music, yet nobody is making a peep. Douchebags! That's all I could think. Maybe they're not used to visitors, maybe I'm disturbing them, I don't know. And regardless if my presence is an unwanted visit, me and my wife really needed some help. Somebody could be a little courteous, for crying out loud. I went ahead and started heading back towards the car. As I was walking back towards the car though, I heard something no more than 10 feet in front of me. What the fuck? Am I about to be attacked and killed by a bear I never saw coming? I sure as hell hope not. I just stopped and froze in my tracks and started flashing the flashlight in that direction. But whatever it is, it's gotta be aware that I'm here. I mean, I'm waving my flashlight around like a madman. I don't know if I should turn the light off or just keep trying to find what it is. At this point, I didn't get the feeling that I was surrounded by an animal. So I went ahead and shouted, "I've got a gun. If you don't come out now, I'm gonna blow your fucking head off." I was bluffing, of course. I didn't have a gun and I was scared as shit. Whatever it was, it sounded like it was walking right at me. I just kept my flashlight up until I finally saw it. It was a fucking clown. At this point, I was in complete shock. I couldn't run, I couldn't speak. All I could do was stand there with a stupid scared look on my face, holding my flashlight at this damn clown. Shit, he's still walking at me and I'm still frozen up. I've got that feeling that I'm probably gonna die any second now. Damn, this clown, this damn scary ass clown, walks up to me, his disturbing face right in front of mine. What's he gonna do? Well, he did something. He grabbed my flashlight and took off running. I felt pretty damn relieved. I was so sure he'd kill me. I didn't have a weapon. I didn't know if he had anything. But no, all he did was snatch my flashlight and run in the opposite direction. I was still pretty damn freaked out, but I just went ahead and started heading towards my car. Stupid me, here I am thinking that the worst part is over. I'm standing there now in the woods, complete darkness, no flashlight, no weapon, no nothing. The only thing I have is my memory of the direction of my car. so I went ahead and started walking towards the car. I was completely blind. At this point, I'm walking with both my arms out, touching for each tree that I pass by. I somehow feel just as scared now as I did when the clown was in front of me. I mean, how do I know this clown isn't gonna just pop up any second and kill me? Clowns are sick like that. At least in my head they are. I saw the movie It. I don't trust clowns, so I just continued walking, blind in the woods. Thank God I was able to make out my wife's flashlight inside the car. I basically ran to the driver door and hopped in the car. As soon as I got in the car, I locked the doors and began telling my wife what had happened. I started with, "Oh my God, you will not believe what just happened." I looked over at my wife, and she was looking out the window. She didn't respond to anything I had said. In fact, she was turned completely away from me, looking out her passenger window. I just looked at her and said, "What? What are you looking at?" She finally turned her head at me. It was the fucking clown. He was laughing, and laughing, and laughing. I looked in the back and saw my wife's dead body. My wife's face was bashed in, but I could still recognize her. She didn't have her long, beautiful hair. The clown had scalped her and wore her hair so he could fool me into thinking she was my wife. It worked. I just sat there in complete shock and fear, but the clown didn't kill me. He eventually got out of the car and walked back into the woods. I just sat there and continued to sit in my car for a very long time until I finally got out of my car and started walking down the road, where I would walk into a police station and tell them my story. Apparently the cops didn't believe my story. I spent the rest of my life in the mental institution, and my wife's parents were able to get custody of my kids. That's my story.